Hey, I'm Henry and I run a company called Silverback Social Media. I don't want to state the obvious, but nailing your content creation strategy in 2025 as an online business owner is probably one of the only ways you're really going to start scaling your business. And one of, if not the most effective way that I have found to scale content is through waterfall content creation. Now, I like to think I can say that because I practice what I preach. It's a methodology that I've implemented into my business, and it's a methodology that I now try and implement into my clients' businesses. So in this video, I'm going to give you the full end-to-end complete breakdown of what that waterfall content methodology is. Essentially, it's a method that allows you to spend less time creating content and post more, which I get sounds a little bit like a contradiction, but let me explain. Let's just dive into it. At a really high level, waterfall content creation has these three different categories. If you know anything about waterfall already, you might have heard these called different things, but this is the sequence that I like the most. You've got the storm on the left, you've got the surge in the middle, and you've got the flood to the right. Now, in this video, I'm going to go through each one of these chronologically and explain to you a little bit about the types of content that we might look to post within each one of these. So if we start on the left with the storm, I'm just going to scroll down here. I've got a bit of a breakdown. So the storm is your catalyst. It is your anchor piece of content. It is the thing that sets everything else in motion. If you're an online business owner, this probably looks like some form of long-form YouTube video. It could be a podcast episode or a long-form blog. If you run a startup, this probably takes the form of something like a big piece of market research that you've done with customers and you're putting out there for the world to see. The idea of the storm is to really try and establish you as a thought leader in your industry. It is a chance for you to give away as much value as possible. It's a huge dump of rain, to use the storm analogy. It's a huge dump of information and value that you're pushing out to your customers. Essentially, it's a time for you to show that you know what you're talking about and tell your customers that you know what you're talking about and that what you're talking about has real life benefit and it's a real life thing. So it's something to deep dive. And the phrase anchor content is because the storm essentially establishes the topic of conversation for the rest of the content that you post across your surge and across your flood. And I'll get into that shortly. So the storm is super important, I like to think, for two main reasons. Because firstly, it builds trust. There's only so much information you can give away in a 30-second Instagram reel, right? But if you're talking about long-form content where you're sitting down, like I am right now, in front of a camera for 5-10 minutes and giving away value, it builds trust. It shows that you're a real person and it shows that you know what you're talking about as well. And hopefully it sets you apart from your competitors. And the second thing, which I think is probably the most important, is that it allows you to sell implementation. What I mean by that is, as an online business owner, you should be looking to give away as much value as possible through your online content. And when I say as much value as possible, all of your value. Don't gatekeep anything. Don't keep anything secret. Give away as much value as you can and then simply sell the implementation of that value. If you're an online coach, if you're a personal trainer, fitness coach, then you should be looking at a way to give all of your knowledge away. Calories in, calories out, protein synthesis, whatever it might be that you're talking about. Give all of that knowledge away and then sell the implementation of it. Sell the accountability, sell your community, sell your 12-week program. Your people know what you're talking about and then you simply sell the product that surrounds that value. If we move across to the right, we've then got the surge, which is this middle section up here. And this is when we really start to repurpose that content that we spoke about within the storm. So if we pop back up here to use this as an example, if our storm, let's say, was a long form YouTube video, we might start to break that apart into these different categories. So we might use the script from the YouTube video as a basis to write a blog out of the 3 or 4 key points that we spoke about in the YouTube video. We might then further break that blog post apart into 7 or 8 key quotes, standalone quotes that work on their own, and look to post those across Instagram threads and those across X. On the other hand, down here, or simultaneously, we might look to, again, take those 3 or 4 key points from the YouTube video and put those into an Instagram carousel. And if you go to my Instagram profile right now, you'll see some of this in action, right? And we have an Instagram carousel that we've broken this video down into to try and break up some of that value. It's when we repurpose as much content as possible. And we also, this little diagram down here, try to branch that out into as many different platforms as possible. So we might talk about Instagram threads, we might talk about X, Instagram, and this is also when we start to bring some of our Instagram stories into utilization as well, which we'll get onto in a little bit more detail later, but using Instagram stories simultaneously with your carousels as a way to break your service down can be really powerful. And then the third and final category is the flood. And this is like your biblical event of sorts. This is when you get all of your content and push it out across as many channels to as many people within your target audience as possible. And so here we might be talking about talking head videos. So this is direct clips from the YouTube video or direct clips from a Loom video that you've recorded. It's the blog quotes, it's audio sound bites from the YouTube video. Intermingled with some of this, so this is all repurposed content that you can see on the screen here, and intermingled with some of this, we might create some standalone Instagram reels as well to go alongside some of this content. So at a really high level, that's sort of how the waterfall process works. It's a methodology, it's a framework that helps you think about content more methodically. It puts a process in place around the way that you think about content, and it enables you to create real deep dive content and repurpose as much of this into high level content. So you are touching as many different touch points of your customer as possible in as many different formats as possible and giving away as much value as possible as well. And hopefully across time, implementing such a strategy will enable you to scale your business and scale your content. Now, the one thing that I haven't touched upon here is this Instagram stories down here. Instagram stories are so powerful for helping bring this information to life. They're powerful for directing people towards your YouTube and towards your blog, and they're powerful for reaffirming the value that you've spoken about in your reel in a more personal way across your Instagram stories. And essentially here at Silverback, we got fed up of seeing people sell shit content creation products with no backing and no process. And so that's why we're so passionate about helping our clients build out their content and scale their content through the waterfall methodology. And does it actually work? I want to draw upon two little reasons here. So the first point is that it allows you to focus on a key topic. If you're an expert in your industry, which I know that you are, then you could talk about a million different topics. You could branch off into a million different tangents. And it's easy to do that and become distracted with the things that you're speaking about in a reel. But waterfall content, having that storm at the start of the week, at the start of every 2 weeks, allows you to really focus and deep dive into one topic of conversation for that week or for that period of content. And that is so valuable because it allows you to give immense value without darting about into different topics and potentially confusing your customer. And the second point here, which I know I touched upon briefly already, is that it simply allows you to give more information and more value to your customer. There is only, and I'm going to drum this home, there is only so much value you can give in a 30-second Instagram reel. Without the long-form content that we're pushing out in the storm, the market research, the YouTube video, whatever it might be, you are missing out on giving a huge amount of value to your customer and gaining their trust. Now, the general flow is that your customer will still find you on Instagram. They'll become aware of your business on Instagram. But then we take them from Instagram across to YouTube or wherever that long form copy is stored, so they have a chance to build that trust. And then we bring them back to Instagram for the sale. At a high level, that's a sort of hop that we hope the customers to make. So you're giving away you're making customers aware on Instagram. You're giving away serious value on YouTube. You're then bringing them back to Instagram to make that final sale and sell the implementation of the value you've given away on YouTube. And so how can you initially look to apply some of this to your business? If you're watching this video, how can you go away and start doing this and creating content in the waterfall methodology? There's 3 different things I want to speak about. First of all, choose your anchor platform. So when we say anchor content, again, this refers to that storm, that big piece of information, that long form value that we give away. There's a few things that we could do here. We could be a long form YouTube video. It could be a podcast that we run weekly. It could be a long form blog. So I'd recommend that initially you do a bit of trial and error and figure out what works best for you. What do you enjoy filming? Are you good at filming YouTube videos? Do you prefer writing a blog? Are you better at talking to a microphone without a camera? What's best for you? but then also what's best for your audience. How do your audience like to consume information? A combination of those two should help you define where your anchor content platform should be. The second thing is outlining what your repurposing plan is. So we've got that anchor content defined. How do we then chop it up? Again, what platforms do we use? What platforms, where are your customers based? Is it best for us to repurpose that as a blog, or do they not read blogs? Is it best to repurpose that as Twitter quotes, as Instagram carousels, as funny gym humor TikTok videos, whatever it might be? Where do we repurpose that? And the third thing is staying consistent, right? The whole waterfall process allows you to stay more consistent generally because it puts a process and a methodology in place for creating content, but also create a repurposing strategy that allows you to stay consistent. Create a consistent drumbeat of when content goes out. Your long form goes out every Tuesday. Your carousel goes out every Wednesday. People love consistency, and get your customers used to when your content is coming out and push them towards it. And hey, look, if this has piqued your interest and you are looking to scale your content, you're looking to grow your business, you're someone who's on the verge of burnout because you're having to constantly create content, constantly film reels, constantly come up with Instagram and content ideas, I know your pain, then let us help, right? Ping us a message. If you want someone from our team to help you build out that initial waterfall content strategy, what it might look like for your business, and there'll be a link in the description where you can book a free strategy call with me or someone from our team to help you do that and help you start conceptualizing what that strategy might look like for you so that you can then go and put that into practice. And essentially that is the waterfall content process. It's in my opinion, the miracle content creation system that allows you to put a process behind creating your content and allows you to scale without burning out. Repurpose as much of that content as possible. Enjoy scaling your business, guys.